Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, and shout out to all of my early risers. So, today in the wee hours, as I'm drinking my warm, hot water and tea, and I fed the rabbit, about to get into some things, I use this early time to really listen to my onboard divine innate intelligence. And I invite you to do the same. There is so much to be said for quiet, which is interesting because we're not really encouraged to be quiet. So, this early day, this got me thinking about the question of meditation, as so much information is available on the internet about the value of relaxation and practices that we have to release stress, release stress. One of them that comes up quite often is meditation. So I've had some experiences with meditation on my own and over the years, going to visit ashrams and chanting in different languages and so on. And I found it to be a very valuable practice. So the question today is, should I meditate? If I should decide to take on and explore a meditation practice, how long should I meditate? Right? And what are some alternatives to meditation if you feel like you have a very busy schedule and it seems like it's just one more thing that you're adding into your busy schedule, and you may feel overwhelmed by all these different lifestyle practices that I have to do in terms of making fresh food and exercising and meditating. It's like I don't have time for all of that stuff. So that's what we're going to explore this early day. If you're so stay, feel free to tune in to the end of this video if you're interested in that kind of content. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Body Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer for several decades. I'm also a mother, a natural born woman. Shout out to you, whatever your expression is. On this channel, I love to share, and you may hear my bunny moving around, crawling on me. Not crawling, climbing, bunny. On this channel, I love to give me my pad. My bunny is taking my pad. No, she's getting rambunctious. You want to say something, bunny? Magical? Magical. Come on, we're going to be nice and quiet today. So on this channel, I love to share motivation, encouragement to start a garden, a personal movement practice, and I also love to encourage peaceful consumption. And what peaceful consumption looks like for me, you'll have to find your own sweet spot. There's a consumption pattern that's focused around whole, fresh, living fruits and vegetables in a natural package that I could recognize. Fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, untoasted, legumes, fresh herbs, fresh dried herbs, and I love fresh ground spices in all different types of creative ways. And essentially, minus the labels, foods that love you back, right? That are not merely just recreational eating. They're foods that don't clog your arteries. As they sit inside of your system, your body's able to absorb the nutrients and then gently pass out the fiber and the waste, right? Foods that build up your vitality and that are like making a deposit into the 401k of your body. They're foods that give you results, right? You see and feel a difference in your skin and your elimination and your energy level. And it's not just the choice of the foods, but also how we're eating and why we're eating. So those patterns and cultivating awareness of those patterns and upgrading those patterns, right? All of us are on our individual journey. That's what I focus on a lot in my practice as a personal trainer and a chef and nutrition consultant. I also love to share my journey of radical self-acceptance, really appreciating and celebrating the unique features that I popped out onto this 3D earth plane with. And by the way, today, this early day, this is my Quickie Style of the day. Which is basically a braid in the back, kind of like a fishtail, so I don't have a whole lot of locks, and two on the side, and I just kind of pin them up with a little hair holder so it's not in my way as I go out to the garden and do my movement practice. On my skin is food. A lot of the things that I'm juicing in the teas, I take them primarily internally, and that is what I put on my skin. If I can't eat it, um, I don't put it on my skin, and I'm someone that's had a lot of cystic acne, which was no fun, let me tell you. So this is my quickie style of the day. Try not to startle Magical because she is actually very sensitive. She's actually given me a lot of lessons, right? Because they're considered animals of prey. They always think somebody's out to get them. So isn't that interesting? Watching her behavior patterns, looking at how important your tone, right? How we speak to each other, and be sensitive to a rabbit. You can give them a heart attack with yelling and too much noise and stuff. Everything is a lesson, an opportunity to learn. So this brings me to today's topic. Do feel free to comment respectfully any kind of feedback that you have. I don't have the only perspective, and you're welcome to like the video if you like this kind of content, and also to subscribe. So that being said, let's get into the topic today about meditation and should I meditate? Why do you meditate? There are different types of meditation, different types of yoga. You can go down a whole rabbit hole, pun intended. You can go down a whole rabbit hole when it comes to meditation. Why would we want to meditate anyway, right? For relaxation. There's a lot of chatter. I would say it's deafening. And actually, yesterday I was watching some research that was saying that the new currency is going to be focused because many of us have lost our ability and we're rapidly losing the ability to focus merely with the addiction to screen. So the screens I don't think are going anywhere anytime soon. However, I make the effort to make a positive, proactive use of the internet because it is I'm very humbled by the fact that a lot of the information and the instructions that we're processing through our brain computer is bypassing consciousness, right? Me awakening consciousness, and is tapping right into our subconscious, triggering many primal human fears and also giving us instructions. And we're wiring habitual mental patterns. We're wiring the need for validation in the absence of communicating with people face to face. We're now doing it through screens. And it is changing our species in the way that we relate. You can quite often see by the tone of the comments that you can, if you just scroll through on YouTube. Also, from time to time, even things like trolls or people looking to take your image, to not relate to a whole person, but to kind of get off or get a rise or get some kind of stimulation, artificial stimulation through looking at your image online. So it's really something, and we're moving at such a pace that we're not really taking note. So meditation is interesting. Animals, right? Animals can teach you a lot about meditation. If you just watch birds or, watching a rabbit, being that her nature can be very skittish, to watch when she's finally relaxed and when she is trusting, right? They don't understand English, but they're paying attention to your movements. If you're moving too fast or if you're skittish or your tone is too abrasive, they're not relaxed. So they're giving us feedback. I think perhaps we're depending too much on the screens to give us feedback when really it's just a dumping of information one way, and we're not really inspired to think critically. So, my experience with meditation, I've gone to meditation caves and ashrams. I've had different forms of practices. Should we meditate? I think it can be wonderful to meditate, to consciously relax. Actually, so many of the different words have so many connotations. They're so loaded with meaning, and people can relate them to just as well as something positive, also to cults and manipulation. I make the effort to keep everything as simple as possible. So a lot of times what people will call meditation, I like to call it relaxation, a relaxation practice. I think that is something that can help us relax more and not be so triggered or not triggered by a lot of the different stuff that's floating around on the internet, and can help provide some discernment, because that is a reason. Oops, excuse me, bunny. She wants to run. To consciously make an intentional decision to relax, because it affects our blood chemistry, right? We're having physiological responses to stress. And then also, it is definitely affecting a lot of our mindless mental habits when it comes to eating mindlessly, perhaps much more than we need. So, if you already have a full schedule, how much time should you meditate? Well, that would really be up to you, but I can definitely tell you, as someone that has made efforts to meditate 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, once in a meditation cave. I think I sat in there because of the environment for hours had gone by and I didn't realize. I think perhaps taking little relaxation breaks, aka meditation, can go a long way, and to keep it very, very simple, right? In some practices, some Indian practices, some people hold pictures of, here comes a rabbit, pictures of a deity because of what it represents for them. Some people, give me my pad. My rabbit's trying to eat my pad. You better munch on that coconut shell or that loofah because she her teeth. Or you could perhaps, oh, she's making me lose life. Come on, bunny, you got to come up from under my computer, magical. I'm not going to go on the computer. So we could uh, perhaps sit for long periods of time. However, there are several periods during the day that are perfect opportunities for meditation, right? Relaxation or moving meditation, as well as sitting quietly. So, definitely before you start to eat, to ground and center yourself, because quite often this can give us insight to how busy the mind is, and it's having a dramatic effect on our body. We're not present, right? As we're in this human suit. Quite often, our mind, is somewhere else. Our mind is somewhere else. So before we go to rest, I know I was raised saying the Lord's Prayer. I invite you to reframe the narrative in a way, if you still want to use those prayers or whatever prayers that you use, or words of power or of affirmation, that, as my godmother said to me, gospel music and prayer, sing to the goddess within you and the divinity of life that is within you. But we can use different lifestyle practices or things that we have to do as opportunities to pray and to meditate and to relax and to get quiet. Some people go into the restroom with a newspaper and with the phone. However, and this is from one of my mentors, that can be a wonderful opportunity to relax and breathe, because that's what meditation is, as you are releasing, and to actually go through your mind with what you want to release out of your body temple. When you're eating, perhaps not to eat as you're watching TV can be tremendous. We can even start to notice our own, give me my pad, bunny, notice our own mental resistance to relaxation, and not notice it's become habitual and mindless and subconscious. So a lot of our behaviors are driven by our subconscious, and we're loading up our subconscious during our conscious waking moments. This can be a very, very helpful distinction. The things that we're exposing and taking instructions from, all the stimulus out here, while we're conscious and awake, what we're consuming, not just with the food, but through our ears, through our visual, we are giving instructions and wiring. We are wiring our subconscious. Very important. We're literally allowing ourselves and are intentionally programming ourselves by what we're participating in. So that has nothing to do, it's beyond a religion or whatever new age. It's just practical in terms of understanding how this human machine is working out here on this 3D plane. Perhaps sometimes we could pressure ourselves and give ourselves so much to do that we get overwhelmed and don't do anything. If we think we have to sit for half an hour or an hour, you could sit spontaneously for a practice, and that's fine. So without making ourselves right or wrong, very, very important not to shame ourselves, right? because even shaming ourselves will have a specific response in our subconscious. So just us being quiet can help intentionally if it's a regular practice, even if it's not a regular practice. Initially, you may just want to start to whenever you feel the need to, because you're anxious or you find yourself getting ready to start munching on some food when you're not hungry, to slow down and get quiet. That's a type of meditation. To take 10 to 15 minutes out of your full day can be extremely beneficial. That can also spark your curiosity to do a regular meditation practice, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. And that curiosity about what's going on in your subconscious, to start to pay attention and cultivate awareness, I think is huge. It is grossly underestimated. Most of us ask for more recipes, more things to do, more things to buy, and we're not tuning in a very practical sense. This is not religion, a very practical sense. Our curiosity is not sparked to be quiet and to be reflective and to see what is going on without a script, just to start to observe. So, yes, meditation, aka relaxation, may seem more approachable, is very, very critical. It's very critical. Funny. Very, very critical medicine for the mind, for our mental processing, for our brain. During this time, it's critical. And even in saying it's critical, it's very important to notice if just subconsciously feelings and emotions, if that, because those are also giving us information and communication, if it's coming from a place of panic. So I invite you not to come from a place of panic or fear, right, which is being fed to us, but to come from a place of a healthy curiosity about what's going on within me and my way of problem solving, my perspective that is driving a lot of my mindless behaviors. So meditation can be very helpful. When you're chewing your food, that's an opportunity for relaxation and meditation. When you're cleaning, definitely. I recommend anytime you're going through something, even if you're not, it's extremely therapeutic to clean. It's extremely therapeutic to go into the garden and weeding. That's a wonderful meditation. You can get lost in what I would call active living meditations, where you're actively doing something. And being that we have a lot of tasks to do, you can really leverage that time in those tasks by being very relaxed as you're doing them. We may be resistant. For example, many of us don't like to dry the dishes and put the dishes away. However, you can use, if you just observe, you can use that time to observe your resistance, especially when it comes to tasks that you see that seem very tedious, that you don't want to do, that need to get done. It can give you a lot of information about our ability to focus, or also anxieties, right, that come through the back door that we may not be noticing. And this is without judgment. This is more about healthy curiosity and observation. So, meditation, living meditations, eating, cleaning, while you're in the garden, and definitely during your movement practice. So, there are different types of movement practices that I do. They will all have some components of quote unquote cardiovascular to get my heart pumping and moving, right? Also to pump my lymphatic system. The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, it requires movement, flexibility, and flow. If we're inflexible in our body, that does also, stiffness does carry over to our mind being very rigid, and also strength, safe strength training. If we don't train for strength, then the bones and the muscles will not look and appear and perform strongly because we haven't required it to do so. So, being very relaxed in our approach with a healthy sense of curiosity can go a long way and help you be sustainable in a mental reset. A lot of us are missing the mental reset. So, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you meditated before? Do you have a meditation practice? Does it seem to you like one more big thing to add to your already full list? And in that respect, in that vein as well, when it comes to your lifestyle practices, do you feel so busy, or it's almost, I would say, comes up, and you may use other words, almost like I would say is a lack mentality, when you feel like you don't have enough time, something to even contemplate. If I don't have enough time to pay myself first with my time, then what am I doing on this plane? Right? I don't have enough time for things that make me feel grounded and relaxed and peaceful. To observe sunrises and sunsets. And by the way, this new season, I invite you to take advantage of sunrise and sunset. And please let me know if you start to do that, how these natural rhythms and patterns of the day. It could be just for a few minutes a day. You can look on your cell phone to see the sunrise and the sunset from wherever you are on the globe. If you can take a few minutes or seconds to observe, they can really ground you. I invite you to consider those active forms of living meditation. So, that being said, if you're interested in joining me in the cocoon in the early hours, we do that periodically during the month. If you want a personal cocoon, during that time, it is very, very early in the morning, usually for 5 to 7 days. Sometimes people go a little longer, but at least then getting up to focus on relaxation and unpacking what is driving a lot of our mindless behavior that's showing up in our eating and our resistance to getting into action around self-care and things that we say that we value. So we're doing that over in the cocoon. You're welcome to contact me at info@bodyculinary.com. There's also the guide, Whole Living Foods in the Hood, with menus to fit your budget. If you're interested in embarking on whole, fresh, unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, not a diet, not a diet, all the different things that I've been doing over the years and feeding my family, all the questions I thought that people would ask me, information that can shorten your learning curve, I've put that all there. You can also see different sample shops from $5, $10 all the way up to $200 in bulk. You can see exactly what I've been doing, and I give you just some ideas on what do you do with all of that produce that's there, right? Which you can actually save you a lot of time and drive your food bill down, and great for your immune system and your skin. There's also natural beauty, no products. How I healed my skin. I just got out of the way and I stopped putting all processed foods into my body. That and my movement practice work for me over um, products, right? So I have made a conscious decision to embrace, for me, health and health and confidence over beauty, which is subjective to what other people, what they decide it is. So I feel at my most attractive when I am confident and when I am healthy, when I know I'm doing the best that I can for myself. So that's a whole meditation in and of itself, radical self acceptance, right? So these are lifestyle practices. They're things that you have access to, and that's really really important. The things that you have access to. So this early day, I invite you just to take a few moments, just for a quick relaxation. Some people call it meditation. I call it relaxation. You can find a comfortable place to sit. If your hips are very tight, you can sit your hips and glutes, your backside on a yoga block. If you have issues with your knees or your back, you're also welcome to sit upright in a chair. Just going to roll the shoulders around, down and back to make sure you don't have computer neck, so that your oxygen can travel freely throughout your body. I'm going to breathe in and out through the nose. Kind of think of like if you're listening to a seashell, the rolling of the wave, very, very deep, intentionally, and actually loud, making an effort to balance out your inhale and your exhale, right? And I invite you to just contemplate and ask a question, right? So we have relaxation. The other part is contemplation, when you ask a question of your own divine onboard intelligence and allow that intelligence to communicate with you. It's even beyond words. And that may come up for you as you're preparing your vegetables or cleaning, right? So the question of contemplation today is, do I, or is there any kind of resistance that I have to my self-care practices? And what is that about? So that's just a question. Do I have, or is there any kind of resistance to taking time for my movement practice, to go into the garden, to prepare beautiful food for myself with my own hands? I want you to just notice the emotion or the feeling that comes up. How does that feel to be resistant to that? And you may hear the bunny moving around in the background. Okay. So relaxation. That's it. Quiet. No religion is required. You can ask a question of your own divine, onboard, innate intelligence and allow that intelligence to bubble up an answer or affirmation, some kind of communication as you're moving about in quiet. And that internal intelligence, it doesn't fight with the noise that's going on outside of us. It usually will require us to get quiet so that we can hear from the inside, bigger than any minister, pastor, religious icon. We were all born with a divine, onboard, innate intelligence. And we talk about trusting it. However, if we can't even hear it, how are we going to trust it and allow it to guide us in our food choices and discernment with people? So I'm inviting you all to create a great day on purpose, to feed yourself the most beautiful, colorful, nutrient dense, living water filled, high octane fuel that is available to you. Fuel for your mood, for longevity, for your vitality, that can really nourish the B vitamins that help us with stress. I'm inviting you all to create a great day on purpose just because you said so. So you really value your time in this human suit. So feel free to follow Body-Culinary, not follow. Subscribe if you like the content. You can check out Body-Culinary on Instagram. I post some of what's going on in the garden. I've been making an effort to share a bit more in the garden on this YouTube channel. You can also check out Kwasapeacefull, like full belly eating on TikTok, where I like to post little bits of information. If you're interested in personal coaching when it comes to your movement practice, garden, peaceful consumption, feel free to reach out to me at info@body-culinary.com. And there is where you can find out about Goddess Cakes, raw vegan cakes workshop that is available. There's a cocoon, there's healthy eating webinar for men, emergency preparedness and food preservation, whole food preservation, as well as the other resources I have available for you. So I will see you real soon. If you need to check in during the afternoon, feel free. I'm unapologetic about creating support for myself, the support that I need. So you may want to replay this while you're decluttering, while you're cleaning, or cutting up your vegetables, moving on your movement mat. Create support that you need for yourself. Okay, I'll see you soon.